I proceed, gentlemen, briefly to call your attention to the present state of insane persons confined within this commonwealth. In cages, closets, cellars, stalls, pens, chained naked, beaten with rods, and lashed into obedience.
Dorothea Dix in her memorial to the Massachusetts State Legislature. Dorothea Lynn Dix reformed insane asylums and traveled the nation proclaiming her cause. She founded or enlarged 32 great asylums. Her reforms on asylums, prisons, and almshouses proved to America that outcasts are still human.
Dix endured a troubled childhood with an alcoholic father who was a Methodist minister. She did not come from an influential family, and she lived in loneliness and despair. Later in life, she never mentioned her parents and even claimed sometimes that she was an orphan. Some historians say that her unhappy childhood fueled her need to help society's outcasts. At age 12, she fled to live with her grandmother in Boston. In 1821, Dix opened an academy for wealthy young ladies in her grandmother's house and pursued a successful teaching career.
At 33, she developed tuberculosis and suffered a complete mental breakdown, forcing her to quit her work and recuperate. She spent 18 months in Liverpool, England, healing. Upon her return to Boston, she spent a cold March day teaching at a Sunday school class at the East Cambridge House of Corrections. As she was leaving, she came across some cells used to house the mentally ill that had no heat. Appalled, she confronted the warden and was told that lunatics could not tell the difference between hot and cold.
On that day, Dix discovered her life's mission. She began investigating the treatment of the mentally ill in Massachusetts and discovered horrifying conditions. In 1943, she submitted her first memorial to the state legislature, describing the terrible sights she saw and the urgency of the situation. After weeks of heated debate, the legislature approved funds for the expansion of the Worcester State Lunatic Hospital.
Encouraged by her success, Dix decided to expand her campaign, starting off in Rhode Island and New York, investigating the different facilities. At each, she examined the conditions and treatment of the patients. She discovered harsh abuses and a lack of sanitation. In both states, she was able to secure funds for new institutions. This was only the beginning, as she soon continued to expand and spread her ideas to the South and West. Her ideas and efforts were widely publicized, which led to others trying to contact her to assist them in their efforts. Over the next 40 years, Dix caused 15 states to establish hospitals for the mentally ill. According to Professor Thomas Brown, she argued to legislators that modern governments needed to provide modern treatment for the insane poor. She embodied contemporary humanitarianism and particularly a sympathetic ideal of womanhood.
Dorothea Dix expanded her reforms to the federal legislation in 1853. She tried to get Congress to set aside millions of acres of public land in trust and devote the income to helping the insane. The bill passed through both houses of Congress. However, President Franklin Pierce vetoed it.
Dix campaigned the idea that the mentally ill, the poor, and the convicts should be split, as opposed to living together in a large institution. She did not only limit herself to the mentally ill, but also encouraged penal reforms. Regardless of their issue or severity, all of the patients received the same form of negative attention. From this, Dix sought to demand the education and better care of prisoners and introduce the idea of splitting criminals up based on their crimes.
Dix is still honored today as an amazing reformer who improved the conditions of asylums, prisons, and almshouses drastically, as well as revolutionizing the treatment of these patients.
This is a story about a woman who built in more than wood and stone. This is a story about a woman who built an idea. Angel of Mercy by Rachel Baker.